Celtics edition. Mo Wagner is in the building as the Celtics arrive at Fiserv Forum along with Jason Tatum. Colorful jacket. I like it. Celtics getting ready to take on this man, the two-time defending MVP and Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks. This is game 2 of this mini-series. Game 1 was a thriller. Welcome in here to Celtics Pregame Live, presented by TD Bank. I am Abby Chin. He is Big Perk. And Perk, a day after the deadline, things have kind of settled a little bit, and the Celtics still have the Jays, headlined by Jaylen Brown tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a blessing. We already knew this, right? We already knew the Jays wasn't going nowhere. But Jaylen Brown, he is on a mission right now, playing exceptional basketball on the offensive end. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little disappointed in JB defensively because I'm used to seeing more out of him. But I understand he has to gradually grow because now being that primary or one of the primary go-to guys, it has to translate into being able to play both ends consistently, possession by possession.
And Perk trying to stop some of the best players on the other side. Chris Middleton, a Celtics killer, did it again on Wednesday night.
I mean, he was the best player on the floor, in my opinion. And that's saying a lot with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Giannis, all on the floor at once. Chris Middleton completely took over the game. And the Celtics have to slow him down. They need to slow him down, not only for this game and for the regular season, but they got to slow him down in case they meet in the playoffs to let him know that this is not going to happen. You're not going to keep giving us that work.
The Bucks pretty much stood pat at the trade deadline. I like it. He continues to do that. They do have some injury issues, while the Celtics, as we know, made some changes, but that means a starting spot for your boy, the Time Lord. We're going to talk about that. We are expected to hear from Danny Ainge for real this time, coming up here on Celtics Pregame Live. So don't go anywhere. We'll be here with you for the next hour, getting you set for another thriller between the Celtics and the Bucks. In Milwaukee, however, Brad Stevens saying they likely will not see the floor tonight. Boston, of course, had to say goodbye to Daniel Tice, Jeff Teague, and Javonte Green, everyone's best friend. But now we welcome in the president of basketball operations, Danny Ainge himself. Danny, we missed you last night, but I understand business needed to be taken care of. Tell us a little bit about the new additions, starting with the headliner and Evan Fournier. What are you hoping that he brings to this team?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say, how much I appreciate Javonte, Jeff, and Daniel and all that they did. Daniel was here a long time and keeps getting better and better, and we're going to miss Daniel being around here.
Yep.
Like you said, Javonte was everybody's best friend, and Jeff Green became fast friends with everybody too. But, our team wasn't playing well. Our intensity level wasn't great, and sometimes you have to shake things up just to – maybe it's too comfortable. Whatever the reason is, our defense has been falling short, and we haven't been, we've been putting a pretty heavy burden on our few top scorers to score a lot of points for us. So anyway, that was the purpose of the trades, and Evan Fournier is a terrific scorer, all-around player, 6'7" shooter that can handle the ball, play 1, 2, and 3, and create some offense.
Everyone really excited about Robert Williams starting tonight due to Tristan Thompson being injured, but you also added some depth in the front court. What are you hoping that Mo and Luke can add?
Yeah, so, Luke hasn't played a lot in Chicago. He's playing like Scal's role right now. And
got to get it in there.
But maybe Mo is more like Scal because Mo, I think, leads the league in like charges taken per minute. So he's one of Scal's type of guys. But, I don't know. What time will tell. We have extra centers, and they'll get an opportunity to play and see what they can provide. But I feel like, we need to just play with a lot more hunger, regardless of who our players are. We've gone through an offensive transformation. We've been playing much better offensively lately, but we're still not winning because our defense isn't up to par. So I'd like to see, like what Perk was saying earlier, that fewer defensive mistakes and more consistent defensive intensity.
Yeah, Danny, I want to talk. Do you feel this is one trade deadline where you felt like you had to make a move because of the way the team is playing? And what is that like for you compared to other years where you always have said, I really like my team. I don't feel like I have to do something. I'm going to look for something, but I don't have to do anything.
Well, because I think that, everybody always thinks that people are what make the games. And we always look on paper. And, there's numerous times, you guys know this, you experienced it as players, where, what a team does at trade deadline and who the buyout guys are, and everyone gets all excited, and, but it really doesn't change. There's not very much time in a season. There's not very much time to practice, and there's not a lot of changes that go on. Or changes in those teams, and but it's just fun to talk about, and it's fun to put the names on a board and really figure out who's got the most talent. But team chemistry matters, how players fit with one another, and for whatever reason, this year our defense hasn't fit, and we've also struggled to get enough scoring off the bench and fourth quarter scoring. So we got a few issues, but I feel like. Are we too comfortable? Is there? I just don't understand. We play 30 minutes of great basketball most nights, and 16 or 18 minutes of not so good basketball. And I know that our guys are capable of it because they've all done it. We got 3 of our core guys have been to the finals, the conference finals 3 times as teenagers. And we just need to, for whatever reason, it is an odd year. I admit that, but I think there's more in the tank for our team, and we need to be better defensively, more consistency.
DA, I got to ask you about my guy, Rob Williams, the Time Lord, right? And I'm watching him, and even in this season, he's keep getting better. He's growing, and to me, I feel like this. I jump out on a limb, and I know you only agree with me 50% of the time, or probably a lesser percentage than that, and I get it. But listen, I feel like the way that Rob Williams is going, he could be the starting center of the future for the Celtics. How you feel about Robert Williams? Tell me what goes on through your mind when play.
So I'm really proud of Rob and how he's come around. I'm excited about his future. I think it's good that he's been able to develop slowly, and there hasn't been too much on his plate early on. He's had health issues to overcome, and so we're trying to figure all that out and what's best for him and his future. I think that the role that he's been in, coming off the bench and playing minutes, is good, but there are times when he probably should be getting a few more, especially at closing games, because he's clearly been our most consistent and impactful defensive player at the center position.
Danny, you've touched on this throughout the time we've been talking to you, but as someone who's been in this league for so long, been around so many different teams, how do you describe what's going on with this group this season?
Yeah, I don't know. I wish it was that easy, Abby. I think everybody probably has a different opinion, and that's why I'm saying it's not one simple thing. I think there's multiple things going on, but I think that sometimes we do get comfortable in this world of basketball. And I remember one time when Larry Bird's best friend Rick Roby was traded away, and everybody went, "Whoa! They just traded Rick Roby's best friend." Larry Bird's best friend, Rick Roby. And, but we got Dennis Johnson, who won 2 championships for us. And DJ was a malcontent in Phoenix and in Seattle, but was a great player and became a great teammate and friend. And, obviously helped us win 2 championships. So, sometimes, change is needed for change's sake. And most of the time it's not. Like John Wooden used to say, all progress is the result of change, but not all change is progress. So, we're hoping that the changes that we made can make some progress.
Danny, can you touch a little bit on keeping your flexibility this summer by making the Daniel Tice trade? You get underneath the tax. By keeping your first round pick, you have more opportunity. Do you still have some money on the trade exception? Are all these sort of the steps or things that you guys could plan for to make this team championship level once again?
Yeah, that's always a difficult part of team building, Scal, is trying to figure out when to throw more chips in the pot to go for more. And, this season hasn't gone like we wanted. It's very easy to just sit there and say, let's just wait for the future next year. It's not that far away. And But, I just feel like our team is lacking a spirit that they need to win. And our young guys, I don't like the path that they're on and the spirit that they're playing with consistently. I think they're having fantastic years. We have some individuals with some good years, but collectively as a team, our defense has really suffered, like I said. And as you guys know, I don't think there's a better way for a team to come together as a team. And there's more bonding and building of a spirit in a team is by getting stops and playing defense collectively. That's how you bond. It's not like making all-star teams and scoring points, and it's by getting stops. It's by getting defense, and that's what a whole team needs to do, and that's what we're lacking right now.
Hey, DA, listen. For us with the growth of Jaylen Brown, and you know how I feel about JB. I call and tell you about him all the time. Been a big fan of his. With him and Jason Tatum taking more of the load offensively, you think that's taking a toll on them for us with their defensive effort? Because both of them last year were terrific on the defensive end, and I'm not saying that this year. You think they just worried about their offense too much, or they got to find, or that's just going through growing pains?
Well, Scal and Perk, and Abby, I think the problem is not, I don't think it's that simple, but I don't really like talking about just defense and just offense, because to me it's all about this way in which you come about to play. There's a big difference of showing up to play and showing up to win. And I think that I do think that scoring is actually more challenging and difficult. Most people don't see it this way, but because I've been a guy in college and later in my career, I had to score. I had to create offense and be the leading scorer of a team versus playing harder defense and being a role player that was a spot-up shooter, got the ball to better players. And I'm telling you, trying to score in the NBA is much more draining than playing defense. So yes, I would say that my experience would say, yes, having too much of an offensive burden does sacrifice on the defensive end. And so adding an offensive player, people say, well, how's that going to help your defense? Evan Fournier is not a great defensive player. Why didn't you go get PJ Tucker? But taking off the offensive end, first of all, fourth quarter scoring has been a problem. Off-bench scoring has been a problem. And but I do think that the guys carrying an extraordinary amount of offensive burden has taken a toll on the defensive end as well.
What does Evan Fournier do? Also, how much does it impact Marcus Smart, who there was a lot of talk around the deadline that he was possibly available, but does Evan help Marcus as well in the playmaking aspect, but also that he can focus maybe a little bit more on the defensive end?
I mean, Marcus can play with anybody. He can play the one, he can play the power forward. Last game he's guarding Giannis, doing a great job. Marcus can play with any group of guys. He can play any position. I think he was joking one time. He considers himself a stretch six. Marcus can play any position on the court, and he can fit in with any group of guys. And Evan should be able to help all of our team, not just Marcus, but Jaylen and Jason and Kemba. And because he can play a big point guard, he can play a smaller four-man. They can switch 1 through 4 with certain of our lineup. So I just think he's another really good basketball player.
Danny, you're cold-blooded. If Tice would have made that shot, you would have traded him or not? Hey, you guys don't know DA, man. That man's cold.
Probably not. You got to make the shots, baby.
Ouch.
Man's cold-blooded, man. You don't know DA.
Speaking of,
listen, like Daniel, in all seriousness, he was great for us. I'm a big fan and always will be, and we wish him success. And you never know in this business how things could come full circle. But Daniel he's left a strong impression on everybody here with the Celtics.
Who was harder to let go of, Daniel or Perk, as we are on the 10-year anniversary of trading away Big Perk?
Listen. Perk was like a child I raised, and he was so fun, and we had a close bond, and it was one of the most difficult trades I've ever made in my career. And, but yeah, I've watched Perk, and yeah, that was very, very hard.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make light of that. What were you going to say, Perk?
Nothing. I was just saying that. I mean, that's apples and oranges. I'm telling you this, Abby. I told you and Scal this time and time again that DA raised me, okay? I came in from a country boy from Beaumont, Texas, and he showed me the ropes. I said this earlier. It's all about the culture, the organization when you get drafted as a young player, whether or not you're going to be able to survive in the league as a man and as a player, okay? You got to understand, DA is the reason that I even got married and started a family outside of basketball. I'm serious. Like, he was, I used to come in with these big old fake earrings in my ear. Thought I was fooling him. He would call me out on it and was like, hey, Perk, you're not a man's man wearing earrings. What are you wearing those for? And then, are they even real? They're not real. And you know what? That made me stop wearing. That's why I don't wear earrings no more.
Life lessons here.
I think we all have you to thank for that, Danny. We appreciate your efforts.
I just don't want to see Stone Cold be wearing any earrings anytime soon, Perk.
All right, before we let you go, Danny, HBO working on a docu-series about Showtime in the 80s, but they're picking different actors to play different guys. Who would you want to play you in that series?
Oh,
Scal.
that'd be great.
My gosh. What?
That'd be great. Wait, it's a TV show?
Yeah, you actually have to act. You would have to do something.
It was the first time I ever even heard about this was today, so I have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
You got to think about it. Your stock answer should be like Brad Pitt.
No,
right?
Danny ain't Brad Pitt style.
I need a shooter.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson.
Woody doesn't have any hair.
Like 3 inches of lifts in Peyton Pritchard's shoes, and then I'll take him. He can play me.
Yeah. That's actually a good call. Peyton Pritchard was with 3 inches of height. That's a perfect call.
2 Oregon guys.
Yeah.
All right, Danny.
I was like, how are they gonna get someone to play
That's
cheap?
the thing. It's what.
How are they gonna get cheap?
In acting, you just get all short people, and then everybody looks tall.
Got it.
Tom Cruise. How tall is he?
I don't
5'2". See, I could be in the movie.
You could.
In the docu-series, excuse me. Well, Danny, we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Who's going to play Kevin McHale? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, who's going to play Big Mac? That's going to be a tough one.
Who's going to be Herman Munster?
I don't know. I'm glad that's not our job.
Luke Cornett.
And I'm glad they're paying you the big bucks, Danny, to make those tough decisions. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll work on that. Cast your vote for the Tommy Award winner each game for your chance to win a $50 Dunkin' gift card. Go to NBCSportsBoston.com to enter the Celtics run on Dunkin'. Coming up here on Celtics Pregame Live, Aaron Nesmith. Will he get a little more run tonight with so many guys out due to the trade deadline? That's something to look forward to. And Chris Forsberg, Celtics Pregame Live, as we take a look inside Fiserv Forum. That's a new face, 34 minutes to tip off. Mo Wagner is with the team in Milwaukee. Whether he touches the floor tonight remains to be seen. I'm joined now by our insider, Chris Forsberg. And Chris, we just heard from Danny Ainge on the moves the Celtics did make yesterday. There were some pretty big fish that are headed to other waters. I want to start with Nikola Vucevic for the Celtics, who reportedly, according to Adam Himmelsbach of The Globe, the Celtics made a hard push for, but he ends up going to Chicago instead.
Yeah, I know Danny really likes Nikola Vucevic, but ultimately it came down to the price tag, right? Like, you can look at what Chicago sent out and say, oh, could the Celtics have cobbled together something? The one thing I would stress is the Celtics, one, don't want to pay big money for a center. They've typically erred on the side of, lower budget there. And two, you want to keep your first-round picks because you're going to need some flexibility if there's some tough decisions looming this summer, whether that's Kemba's future or how you're building out this roster around the Jays. You want to be in position with picks, with talent, and ultimately the price tag was probably too high to get in on that Vucevic sweepstakes.
And then what happens to Time Lord? I mean, people calling for that one. I'm joking, of course, and I appreciate
you're right.
you.
No one can have Time Lord.
Right. I appreciate you bringing up the flexibility around Kemba, because that is a real thing that is being discussed. But the other move that still could be made is on the buyout market, and Mark Stein is reporting that Andre Drummond considers the Celtics a strong contender for his services. Do you see that as a real possibility?
Yeah, Andre Drummond, huh? So, look, whenever we used to bring it up as a trade target, I used to literally just fall out of my chair because it hurt my brain to think about. As a buyout candidate, I'm somewhat more open-minded to it, but I do not know how Andre Drummond helps the 22nd ranked defense in the league. He is certainly not going to be someone that you feel comfortable throwing out there against the Embiids of the world if you were to see him in the playoffs. I guess there's worse options if you needed a third center, but if the Lakers really want him, just let him have him. Just step aside. It's cool.
Thank you. I agree. Once again, I'm going to bring it up. Time for Time Lord, Andre Drummond.
If anyone, and that's the other thing, if anyone takes minutes away from Time Lord, if Andre Drummond takes minutes away from Time Lord, I'm going to go to Danny Ainge's office and kick down a door.
All right, well, if you want to hear more from Chris, be sure to check out the latest episode of the Celtics Talk podcast. Chris Forsberg and Brian Robb discuss the trade for Evan Fournier and debate how optimistic Celtics fans should be about the move. You can find the Celtics Talk podcast wherever you get your podcasts, or check it out on YouTube. Chris isn't going anywhere, though, because Big Perk was looking for Chris last night as we look for Jason Tatum hunting down matchups. Perk and Chris going to go head-to-head.